know what this is, right? This is the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye. It has the engine from the Demon, 797 horsepower. And I can tell you all about it, but something tells me you already know. But one thing probably you've never seen is someone driving this thing in the rain. Now, I have no choice but to do that for you. So let me fire this thing up and let's go for a drive. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now it defaults into auto mode. We're going to do that while the engine's cold. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse. Nice backup camera with perspective, so as you turn the wheel you get the guiding lines. And if you didn't notice before, I am using the red key. Dodge dropped this off last week and they forgot to give me the black key. I got the red key instead. Actually, that's what they did. For journalists, they always drop off the red key. That way we get to experience the full potential. And I can tell you everything about this vehicle, or I can just let it kind of speak for itself. So, rather than talk and blah, 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 we're just going to go for a drive. So I'll be quiet, and you'll get to listen to the vehicle the whole time. Actually, I might talk a little bit once in a while. Now you might be wondering, Brian, why are we at Costco? Well, I'll tell you, it's not because we need fuel. Although, if we were to look at the trip computer, we would find out I'm averaging 11.1 miles per gallon. And I only hit a top speed of 127 in this vehicle in the last week that I've had it. And, well, I'm here to tell you one basic thing. Let's go ahead and step outside for 1 second. You see, this is the Widebody. The wheels are 11 inches wide. It has a trunk. But most importantly, I'm here because I want to thank everyone who stockpiled toilet paper and hand sanitizer and basically lots of things so that they can hole up in their homes for weeks. Because what that means is I have more time, and people like me have more time on the road without those people. Which means that we can actually use these vehicles to more of their abilities. So now that today is quite an interesting day in the market and people are freaking out for health reasons, well, it's my time to play. So even though it's raining and I have 797 horsepower, let's play. Safety first. Traction control is in, let's hit that, track mode. Let's go to sport mode. In the rain, 797 horsepower. Let's turn traction control on. We'll leave it on for a while. Let's go this way. Now we do have a supercharged V8 here, and they've done a lot of work versus the standard Hellcat to make the Redeye, or in this case the Demon, more focused on being able to cool down. So when you put it in track mode, the air conditioning cools the intercooler and all this other stuff happens. So it's a serious vehicle, and it's made to manage the heat very well. Today is not that kind of a day. We don't need to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is just let you listen to it, let it speak for itself. Eventually, when we get some free space here. Even though a lot of people are intending to hole up, there are still people who, I guess, still have to work. That'll change soon. So the traction control is doing a very good job keeping it planted and straight, but you can hear all the trouble it's having keeping 11-inch wide wheels gripping. What we're going to do is turn around, find a different path to take. The one of least resistance, because that's what we're going to do today. When it comes with going with the flow, we take the easiest path. Now with these wider wheels, you want to be careful with puddles because you have more likelihood of hydroplaning because there's more surface area to lift up the tire. So even though wider is better for grip, it's a nightmare for hydroplaning. So do not drive wide tire vehicles in the rain if you have no tread. Not nervous. Not nervous at all. I mean, it does hold the road very well. And you definitely have some effort to put into the steering. Thought I saw a second car. That thing looks like a booger. Floored. So, even though you have 797 horsepower, you can't use it, which is the fun part, because people think that this thing is a monster and it's a beast, but it actually cannot put the power down. The tires may be big and grippy, but the combination of that big, wide tire and these wet roads and all that twisting force, even with traction control on, which is doing a very good job, by the way, keeping me on the lane I'm in and off the curb and away from the trees. It's hilarious. I don't know why people don't drive this. It's like a built-in safety feature. Just the mechanics of it are fun. Of course, if you're gentle on the throttle application, you do get to pick up speed quite nicely. But if you were to go ballistic with it, you're not going to have your expected results. Still, though, you got to love that supercharger whine. Sounds like there's a cat stuck under the hood. Hopefully we'll get to a red light here and I can floor it from the stop. Just want to give you guys an experience. I had a great week with this vehicle, and some people, I think, take advantage of press cars and don't give you the full story. I mean, I know a lot of you really love cars. You really want to know a lot about cars that are hard to get, and I want to try and just convey that to you, what it's like. I'm so glad that Dodge allowed me to do this. I drive more Dodge vehicles or FCA vehicles, but I just do not have enough subscribers to allow them to give me vehicles all the time. So I'll get about one every quarter. Unless, of course, you tell all your friends to subscribe, then I'll be able to get more often. I can get whatever I want. This is a 2019 with 6,600 miles on it. And I chose this one out of the list of all the 2020s because I don't think they're going to be around for much longer, making 797 horsepower with big V8s getting 11 miles per gallon, even though gas is cheap right now, and it's only going to get cheaper. The whole carbon emissions and all the environmental stuff, I think, is going to make it more and more difficult for manufacturers of any level to produce monsters like this. This thing is a monster. And it only costs $86,000. Granted, a lot of people might say this is an old interior, but you know what? It works. And if it works, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Everything is at hand. I know it's not the new Corvette, but still, this feels a lot less claustrophobic than the way that C8 looks. So you gotta be careful with the undulating roads, and of course lift off, go through corners. It's kind of hard in the wet to predict where this vehicle's gonna be going because there's so much grip, and the moment it doesn't grip, you don't feel any negative force. It's not like the steering lightens up. It's still a heavy vehicle to drive. Normally a sports car in the rain would just kind of skip across, whereas this thing just cuts its way through like a Coast Guard ship, and it's ballistically powered, so you can never really trust it, is what I'm trying to say. And I used to have a Mercedes AMG that was kind of the same way. It always wanted to kill me. And this in the rain feels kind of like that. Let's go this way. I love that exhaust sound though, the burble. Well, we can kind of slow down a little bit here. So even at 40 miles an hour, if we're kind of clear back there, if you put your foot down on it, see it spins out. Of course, I lifted off. Traction control was braking and keeping everything in line. I would not do this near a curb. I do not advise doing this, but I'm doing this just to kind of get you an idea of how stable this thing is. It actually is stable, but there's just a little edge to it where you do kind of think, with all this grip and all this power, is it drivable in the rain? And I'm going to tell you, yes. I mean, you're not going to drive it like you normally would, and you certainly don't want to curb it. Nobody wants an expensive repair bill. And I would never consider flooring it out of a corner in the rain. Never, never, never. Not in a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Front-wheel drive vehicle will just spin around anyway. Oh, we got a lot of people coming. Good thing is, nobody's behind us. Okay. Now, if you're really subtle on the acceleration, the shifting is really smooth, even in sport mode. But on a sunny day, if you were to really hammer it in sport mode, the shifting is very abrupt. It's very, very, I would say beyond crisp. It's brutal. The shifts are very intentional and very quick. And I think when you put it into sport mode, the shifting is actually quicker than it would be in automatic mode, for instance. Don't quote me on that, but I do know that even accelerating off the line in auto mode, or eco mode in this case, it feels like it's accelerating out of second gear rather than first gear. It's just an extra layer of protection. But in the rain, well, if you're driving one of these things, oh, listen to that. Yeah, so that kind of got out for me a little bit, and traction control came in and braked the right rear and front left is what it felt like. It kind of did like a cross brake there to straighten everything out and pull it in, and it did retard the throttle just a little bit and brought me right back in. So it is on the safe side, even in sport mode with traction control on. Very nice to do. Will I turn off traction control? Not today. My whole thing here is, even in the rain, you can still drive 797 horsepower. You can still drive 11-inch wide rear wheels. And being that this is a wide body, I think the same would apply to the RT and the RT Scat Pack and the SRT, all the wide body editions. How does it sound in here? It sounds great. So it kind of has like the sound of a cat being strangled, but it also has the roar of a lion, doesn't it? You saw the traction control light there. So yeah, very fun ride. And I'm gonna head home. I don't know how much more I can show you, but I do want to say that this has been a blast. If you are on the fence about a Challenger, well, for $86,000, that might be a lot of money for some of you. For others looking at other vehicles, I think for the horsepower, you can't go wrong. And as far as the drivability, this has been a decent daily vehicle, because there are a lot more tamer versions of this vehicle that also get driven daily. So what I'm going to do is put that back in auto mode. Oops. And I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for your notifications, and have a great day. I'm going to turn this car in today. They come and pick it up. And gas is only $1.86 a gallon here for the cheap stuff. So, yeah. It's been a fun car. And, well, yeah. No complaints from me. We do know that I've driven several of the Dodge Challengers before, and I've owned 2 Hemi FCA vehicles before, so to me this is a bucket list kind of item, and I had to do it. I just had to do it. And I wish I had more footage, but, you know, when you're talking about high speeds and stuff, yeah, you just gotta play it safe, especially when it's not your car. So, just know though that if you have a family member who has one of these, and you want to drive it, and it might be raining that day, just show them this video and say, look, he can do it, I can do it. I know I'm certainly not a race car driver, I'm not talented, but I can control 797 horsepower in the rain. Can you?